Imagine a world where the rulebook for global power is being completely rewritten. For more than half a century, a single currency has dominated everything, but it looks like that era is coming to a close. A quiet revolution is reshaping the entire planet, from the Middle East to Africa, and a new center of gravity has emerged while most of us weren't even paying attention. Now, here's the thing. The source material we're digging into today argues this isn't some far-off prediction. This is happening right now. Beijing has been methodically, piece by piece, building a whole new network for finance, energy, and infrastructure. And the goal? It isn't just to compete in the old system, it's to create an entirely new one. Today, we're going to walk through the evidence behind that massive claim.
Just look at this headline for a moment from Modern Diplomacy. This is the story behind today's video. The rise of the Petroyuan. Is the US dollar losing its energy monopoly? With that said, let's go straight to the intro.
All right, let's dive right in. We're going to break this all down into 4 key pillars. First, the financial system, then the energy markets, global infrastructure, and finally, the hard assets that, according to our sources, are anchoring this entire structure. You know, if you want to change the world, you have to change how the money moves. China knew this, and so its first target was the very foundation of Western financial control. For decades, there's been this thing called the SWIFT network. It's been called the nuclear option of global finance. It's basically the messaging system that all international bank transfers rely on. So if you get cut off from SWIFT, you're pretty much cut off from the global economy, a very powerful tool. So, seeing this as a major vulnerability, what did China do? Well, they built their own system from the ground up. It's called CIPS, the Cross-Border Interbank Payment System, and it was designed to be a direct and better alternative. And when you compare the two systems, wow, the difference is just staggering. This isn't just a little upgrade. A typical SWIFT transfer can take, 3 to 5 days to settle. With CIPS, we're talking about clearing settlements in a matter of seconds. That is a huge leap in efficiency. And get this, a pilot transaction between Hong Kong and Abu Dhabi took just 7 seconds to complete. Not only that, but it came with a 98% reduction in fees. So the system is just designed from the ground up to be faster, cheaper, and completely independent. Okay, so a new system is great, but is anyone actually using it? Well, the numbers really speak for themselves. By the end of 2025, the CIPS network had already connected 4,800 banks across 185 countries. This thing is quickly moving way beyond a niche system and into a new global standard. And we're not talking small change here. The volume of money moving through the system is just massive. In 2024 alone, CIPS handled transactions valued at nearly $26.4 trillion. It's already a massive player on the world stage, and it's totally changing how global finance works. But hold on, China didn't just stop at building a better version of the old system. Oh no, they're jumping way ahead into the digital future with the ECNY, which is the world's largest and most successful experiment with a central bank digital currency. And the scale here is absolutely mind-boggling. By late 2025, the digital yuan had already processed over $2.3 trillion in transactions. And through projects like Enbridge with partners like the UAE and Saudi Arabia, China is making it possible to settle huge trade deals instantly, totally bypassing the old financial rails. They are, in effect, building an internet of money. All right, let's shift gears now to what really runs the world: energy. For decades, a single agreement has propped up American supremacy. But that foundation is cracking and, well, China is holding the hammer. You see, since 1974, the deal was the petrodollar. Oil had to be traded in dollars. This created a constant artificial demand for the US currency. But now, China, being the world's biggest energy buyer, is using its incredible leverage to forge a new system. So, welcome to the era of the Petroyuan. And listen, this isn't just some theory or a plan for the future. It's happening right now. Nearly 80% of all trade between Russia and China is now settled in their own local currencies. The source material makes it clear. Major energy exporters are moving away from the dollar towards what they see as a much more stable option. But the real jaw-dropper, the move that sent shockwaves through the West, has to be Saudi Arabia. For decades, they were the absolute linchpin of the petrodollar system. So why on earth are they now pivoting to China? It seems Riyadh is now working hand in glove with Beijing. They reportedly see China as a reliable partner that actually invests in their future. And as part of this new relationship, they're exploring selling oil in Yuan and have even joined that Enbridge digital currency project. This is a huge shift in geopolitical alliances that have stood for a very long time. Okay, so we've got finance and energy. Now let's see how they're literally building the physical foundation for this new world economy. China's strategy has been all about massive construction projects that our sources say are paving the way. You've probably heard of the Belt and Road Initiative. It is, without a doubt, the most ambitious infrastructure project in human history. And this number, it's just staggering. $213 billion in total engagement in a single year. That's a massive wave of construction and investment washing over 150 countries. And you can see the impact of this everywhere, all across the globe. Take Africa, for example. China has signed zero-tariff trade deals with 53 different nations there. It's also funding huge projects like a $20 billion gas park in Nigeria and major infrastructure loans in South Africa. The whole point seems to be helping these nations build up their own economies. And it's not just Africa. Look at Asia. Their trade with China has hit record levels, topping $771 billion last year. For so many countries in that region, China has become their #1 economic anchor. But here's what's really wild. It's not just developing nations getting on board. Even key US allies like South Korea and Indonesia are signing currency swap deals and issuing bonds in Chinese yuan, because frankly, that's where they see the real stability. So this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. What is backing all of this economic power? Well, China has a two-part answer. First, dominate the technology of the future, and second, anchor your currency in the most timeless asset there is. First up, technology. China has poured everything into what they call the new three. And according to the source material, they've pretty much already won this race. They are the undisputed world leaders in electric vehicles, in batteries, and in renewable energy. And it's one thing to lead in tech, but you also need the raw materials to build it all. Well, they've got that covered too. China reportedly holds 74% of the world's rare earth reserves, and these are the critical minerals you need for everything from smartphones to fighter jets. Second, and maybe most importantly, to lock in the long-term stability of the yuan, China has been quietly building a golden anchor, moving to back its currency with real, hard, tangible value. And when I say they've been accumulating gold, I mean they've been really accumulating it. The People's Bank of China went on this relentless 15-month-long gold buying spree. This looks like a very deliberate, very strategic move to build a massive buffer against any kind of economic trouble. And the result, a record-shattering total of 2,306 tons in official gold reserves. This incredible stockpile sends a very clear message to the world. The yuan is being positioned as a currency backed not just by growth, but by a very significant hard asset. When you have a historic trade surplus and steady GDP growth, it's really no surprise that financial experts are calling the yuan's rise a decade-long secular bull rally. The momentum here is undeniable, and it seems to be built on a very solid foundation. So when you lay out all the pieces, the finance, the energy, the infrastructure, the gold, the picture becomes crystal clear. The so-called unstoppable giant isn't some future threat, it is a present-day reality. So let's just recap what we've seen. We're talking about a financial system that's faster and more efficient. We're talking about energy markets that are secured, independent of the dollar. We're talking about modern infrastructure lifting up the global south, and it's all underpinned by a currency that is backed by real, tangible value. Look, the evidence we've walked through today points to a huge reconfiguration of the global order that is already happening, and the implications are massive for everyone. So the question really is for you, what do you make of this rise of Petroyuan and these new global systems? Hey, if you found this deep dive insightful, do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss what we tackle next. We really want to know your thoughts on this new global system, so drop them in the comments below and let us know what other topics you want us to explore. Thanks for sticking with us for this one. Until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon. Goodbye.